Hello and welcome back to Room 117, my shrine to the Halo franchise, and specifically my display of the Mega Construx, formerly Mega Bloks Halo buildable sets. In this video, I will be taking you through an updated look at my collection of the Mega Construx micro action figures from this line. There are a bunch of them, so this may take a while, and I'll attack them in groups. Let's start with the Spartans, of which there are over 320 in this collection with no duplicates. In this first batch, the front row starts with named characters, so here's Noble Team. The second row has the Spartan Tribute Pack rainbow of figures, and the third row has some of the yearly exclusives and special or limited edition ones. In the front, it moves over to what we have as of the time of the recording of this video for Red Team from Halo Wars, and the third row moves on to randoms, which will just continue on and on. Here in the front row are the two versions of Palmer officially and Davis, as well as the player character from Spartan Strike. And then at the end, Team Majestic from Halo 4, and also the Hayabusa Spartans, the full range of colors that were made available for those. Behind them, everything else becomes completely random. I'm not even going to try to sort these by type or age or source game or anything, because there are just too many of them, and they come out with too many new ones on a fairly regular basis, and it's just not sensible to spend the time to try to keep these fully organized. So I instead try to make them as random as possible, so that it's an intentional thing. It's intentionally not sorted, and the opposite thereof. If you see any pairs that look like they are duplicates here, I guarantee you 100% that they are not. There's just something that you're not seeing in the video. And if you look them up on the official Mega Bloks Halo, or Mega Construx now, Halo site under figures, you'll see that there are different variants, and some of them have very small differences, but they are official and they are distinct. On the second shelf, here are my official Master Chief figures. There are other figures they've made that can be called Master Chief for certain, but these are all the ones that I've collected that were officially named, followed by what I have so far for Blue Team and also Team Osiris. As of the time of the recording of this video, the official Halo 5 Blue Team set has not been released anywhere that I can purchase it. Once I'm able to purchase it, I will of course add that, and I'll also add many other things as I can as they become available in the future. This next group of figures is miscellaneous UNSC, not including any Spartans. So again, on the lowermost, frontmost step, I've got named characters. Behind them are figures that are a little bit more rare, less common, including officers, also the NMPD figures, the ones that I've collected from that series. And then behind them, I get into the ODSTs that are not named. So here are the named ODST official character figures that we've gotten. And then behind them, all the ODSTs are grouped together, including all the way at the far left end. I have the recon helmeted ones that are from a distance, especially looking at just the tops of them. They're often mistaken for Spartans. Then I move into the Flame Marines and or Hellbringers, depending upon what your favorite Halo Wars is. And those are the last. Oh, wait, one more group of figures that are actually grouped, and that's the pilots. So I've just mixed together old and new, and the two different versions of old ones that they did. Behind that, it gets into the randomization, the intentional random distribution, just because it's a lot easier to do it that way. And once again, if you see anything that looks like a duplicate, there's just something that you're not seeing because of the level of detail of the video and what actually is being shown from this perspective. Next up are the active camo and mostly transparent figures, not including any of the half active camo ones that I personally actually don't really like. They made these a lot easier to get in recent years. They've made a lot more of them, but fortunately they're not going too crazy with their numbers. So this display here should last for a while. I'm hoping that it'll last for at least a couple more years before I have to redo it. As this collection has expanded, I've had to remake a number of the stands, making them larger and splitting up collections into multiple parts. These Elites are a perfect example of that. I've just recently made this enlarged stand for them. With these guys, I've again put the named characters in front, starting here with Jul and Dama, as the Sangheili themselves pronounce it in-game. You can pronounce it however you want, that's all good. And then the Arbiters, and then the second row has Commanders, the old style followed by the newer style. We've got a new Arbiter coming out pretty soon here, at least one new one, but it's not available yet as of the time of recording this video. And then here are my honor guards, including the one new one and the older ones, which are pretty significantly smaller on display, and I've not even stood up the new one as high as it'll go, with the older style generals behind them. I'd like to see some more generals, some more higher level stuff, but I guess with the Covenant being dissolved as it is, just about, we're losing some ranks. The rest of these figures are all randomized, just like the rest of my sub collections. And with this most recent stand that I made, fortunately I have enough space that I have space to spare. So I actually spaced these out farther apart from each other than I did with all the other figures, which is important because when you're standing these up and you want them to be somewhat neat and close to each other, especially with the newer figures, you have to get your fingers down there really to the base. You need more room for your fingers to fit in next to the figures, because they have that extra joint which requires a little extra stability to get them to stay the way you want them to be. Here are my brutes, the Jural Hanae, who are on the old stand that the Elites used to be on. Named characters in front once again, but we don't have too many named brutes, so I move on to the chieftains, while the second row has captains and captain majors and such. We've got just one more named character at the end, and then everything else behind them just goes into randomization. We don't have too many of these yet just in general, which is good in terms of space, because now I have plenty of room to expand as they come out with more and more of them. Yeah, I could arrange these a little bit better by game, given that there aren't so many, but I'm okay with just sticking with the random thing, except for the jump pack brutes, which are all at the back, just because I've kept their packs on. Most of them, most of my figures, I take the accessories off in general, except for some of these named characters that do have their specialized weapons, and then also the active camo ones that I like to keep together. And then the rest of the Covenant races are all lumped together here. I look forward to eventually being able to have a nice lineup of all three of the major prophets that I can stick together, but for now I've got just the one. Got the hunters and the drones. I still really like these drones so much. They look so good to me. They're really well done. They have a lot of parts, and their proportions and their colors work together really nicely, I think. Here are the different generations of jackals, and I also stuck the skirmishers down next to them, followed by, of course, the grunts. And here you see just a tremendous difference in the sizes and scales of these from generation to generation, from the oldest ones that they did in the earliest Halo Wars 1 packs, where they always came in pairs. Basically, they were so small that they counted as a half a figure each, to the most recent ones from Halo 5, 4 and 5, but mostly the 5 ones that are the largest, that have the increased articulation and the entirely new builds, and they absolutely dwarf the old ones. They even dwarf the ones that came directly before them, but I think they're good. Forerunners and Forerunner Tech get their own display. So naturally most of these are Prometheans, with I believe the full collection so far of crawlers and soldiers from Halos 4, 5, and Spartan Strike, the app game. And then the knights are lined up. Those are really bulky figures. I would like to be able to get more of these as well, but they've made these very uncommon. They must be extra expensive to produce or something. They really don't seem to like to put out a lot of different ones, or even make them available in large numbers in general. And then the watchers are in the back. There are different versions of them. I even added in the couple versions of monitors and then the Eurodidact himself. A couple of these watchers look similar, but they're actually from different sets and have different colors used for the plastics. Last and least is my collection of Flood figures. And these are only the official figures they've made. At one point I had done a bunch of pop and swap customs of these, which look really cool in a big old mass, but I ended up just paring that back so that I could have that continuity of no duplicates and no unofficial figures included in this display. So the regular combat forms, and then we've gotten the 2 tank forms, which look really cool to me, and then the couple of carriers. And I don't count the infection forms as actual figures. So speaking of counts, I've listed 15 Flood, 30 Forerunner, just under 60 Miscellaneous Covenant, 40 Brutes, 101 Elites, just over 60, I believe it's 63 active camo figures here. Miscellaneous UNSC, not including any Spartans, is just over 140. And the Spartans number over 320. It's a total of just shy of 780 figures. Now these are my duplicates here, and as always listed in my frequently asked questions, these are not for sale or for trade. I've used up a lot of these, fortunately, since the last time that I showed this pile in the creation of Room 117, because I've got figures all over it, including ones that are intended to be visiting the displays or the museum, and ones that are kind of in action poses along the way. Some of them are in vehicles and such. So a lot have been used up, and that's why I've kept so many duplicates, collected so many duplicates in the first place. And I'll certainly be using more of those in the future as I get opportunities to expand the displays up above, and hopefully be able to eventually find time to do more custom stuff to go with that display as well. But for now, these are the complete ones. I also have a drawer full of weapons and accessories for them, as well as a smaller bin inside of there, which includes some extras that are not complete that I've used for pop and swaps that have been actually used in the displays up above, especially to represent figures that are visiting, like these over here that have different heads on them, and those are actually swapped between different themes even, as desired. So that's it for the update for now. As always, I will continue to review more of these products as more of them are released and more become available to purchase from places where I can actually purchase them. And after the reviews, I'll add stuff to this display, and every once in a while bring you in here to have another look at Room 117. Thanks for watching. I'll be talking to you again soon.